Welcome back into the Arrowhead Pride Rapid Reaction Show. I am Steven Serda, joined as always by my guy, Rocky Magaña. Couple minutes late on the Rapid Reaction Show this evening. But you know what? I don't even care. We had some technical difficulties, and it's fine, Rocky, because for all anybody really could care tonight, we could have totally fallen asleep during that football game. And that could be why we were late this evening as the Chiefs take down the Broncos 19-8 on Thursday Night Football. You're muted, Rocky. See, this is
Yeah,
this
I
is what I'm
know.
talking about.
It wouldn't
Football
it
game.
wouldn't
That's
even
what it
unmute
does
for
to you.
me. My gosh, like my computer is being less effective right now than the Chiefs passing attack to their outside wide receivers. Like literally, my computer is the Justin Watson of computers at this moment right now. And so I apologize to everybody. Man, but oh my gosh, like Mahomes wasn't even looking to the outside. Like after the first quarter, Mahomes was just like, okay, I can't trust these outside wide receivers. I can only throw it to Kelsey or a running back across the middle. And anything else is just I'm not even going to look out there. Like if you were watching on Prime Vision, he didn't even look to the outside. There was actually situations where the wide receivers were open, and he was like, nah, dog, I don't trust you. And then he did try to trust Justin Watson, and he dropped it. So
So
he was right.
let's get into all of that. And I don't think there's a lot to take away from this football game other than, man, the Denver Broncos are a garbage football team. It's a 19-8 win where I think it was pretty apparent. You could say that the Chiefs totally sleptwalked through that game offensively for the most part. Obviously in a matchup like this against a defense that's been as bad as the Denver Broncos have been this season, you would have liked to have seen the Chiefs offense kind of put together a performance like they did a few weeks ago against the Chicago Bears, where they look absolutely dominant. But, short turnaround, Thursday night football, these games are never as much fun as it seems like Sunday football games are because everybody's banged up. Everybody's trying to stay healthy on the short turnaround weeks. And, it's worth mentioning the Chiefs had a couple of issues tonight. Travis Kelce came up limping late in the game. He's dealing with that ankle injury. Don't like to see that. Thankfully, they've got the extra time after the Thursday night game. Justin Reed got banged up at one point in this game. Trent McDuffie kind of missed some snaps at the end of the first half. All of that is to say, though, Chiefs come away with the win. They improved to 5-1 through 6 weeks of the NFL season. And tonight was certainly, I don't even want to call it frustrating because I feel like I've been way more frustrated with this team over the last few weeks than tonight. Tonight, it just felt like they knew they could do what they wanted to in this game. They were moving the ball really well. They kept stalling out in the red zone. Mahomes has a bad interception where it's a play where he probably should have just eaten a sack, but he tries to force the ball as he's getting hit and ball gets tipped, intercepted. Like they were bad in the red zone tonight. No doubt about it. But offensively, like Andy Reid was busting out the trick plays. Like it just felt like tonight the Chiefs were like, yeah, we're just not trying to put anything on tape ahead of this Chargers matchup next week. So this is what you're getting tonight. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, we're still pretty confident that we're going to come away with a win. And they did.
Yeah, I mean, Pat was forcing the ball early on. I think that he made the decision after his very poorly, like very ill-decided interception in the red zone when he was trying to get the ball to Sky Moore under pressure, that he was like, listen, the defense is going to keep these guys as single digits today. We've already done enough to win this game, so I'm just going to not be the reason why we lose today. I'm not going to take unnecessary risks, and I'm not going to turn the ball over anymore. And I'm just going to go for the safe check down every single time. I'm not going to try to push the ball downfield. It is disappointing, though, because coming into tonight, the Broncos had played 5 games, and the Commanders had scored 35 points against them. The Dolphins scored 70 points against them. The Bears scored 28 points against them. The Jets scored 31 points against them. The only team that didn't score at least 28 points against the Denver Broncos was the pathetic Las Vegas Raiders. Like the Chiefs, without that last second field goal by Harrison Butker, who, by the way, sweet Lord in heaven, he is automatic this year. That guy's got a Thor leg, blessed by the gods. I don't know what he did. He ate his Wheaties. He has good karma coming. He did everything that he was supposed to do because right now he is just locked in and laser focused. But besides the point, the Chiefs got to play better offense than this. Sure, they can get away with being super vanilla and play this way against the Broncos and walk away with a victory. But and they got the next two games. They're playing the Broncos again, and then they're playing the Chargers. But then after that, they have a matchup with the Miami Dolphins looming in Germany. And if they don't start figuring something out with these wide receivers and trusting them a little bit, they're going to get run out of that stadium, man. And I don't want to be a doom and gloom guy because a win is a win. It's hard to win in the NFL, but this is not going to cut it in Germany.
Well, and as frustrating as they've been offensively so far early in the season, and as frustrating as the wide receiver rotation has been, when Rashee Rice has a career high tonight, 72 receiving yards on 4 receptions, continues to look like he is the biggest difference maker in that room, continues to look like we got to absolutely get this guy on the field more and get him more involved and get some of these other guys off the field who are doing absolutely nothing. Another just absolute ghost of a performance from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Justin Watson had a chance to make a big play. It was one of the only real deep shots of the game. Couldn't come up with it tonight. And Sky Moore continues to just not really be an effective player for the Chiefs offense. But Rashee Rice is one of the bright spots. And Travis Kelce, despite it being a short turnaround, being on that bum ankle tonight, he was absolutely dominant, had over 100 yards in the first half alone. Ends the game with over 120 receiving yards. And it was automatic between Mahomes and Kelce in the first half of this football game. Isaiah Pacheco looked really good tonight again, and I would have liked to have seen him get some more carries. I would have liked to have seen him have a bigger game because that's especially where the Broncos have been bad, is against the run, and I felt like they could have leaned into that a little bit more tonight. But I truly, truly believe this was kind of one of those Andy Reid games where they know they got a big matchup against the Chargers next week. And I know the Chargers defense hasn't exactly been a world beater or anything so far this season. They've been exploited pretty hard so far this year, but it's still a bigger matchup against a much more competitive team and the only team that you really have to worry about in this division. So I'm willing to bet that next week against the Chargers, we see a lot more. We see a lot more from Rashee Rice. We see a lot more from these guys. And I'm hoping that's what the game plan is, because you mentioned it. We're only a few weeks away from that matchup with the Miami Dolphins in Germany. And with the way that team is playing, and I'll get to the defense is still playing lights out for the Kansas City Chiefs. They are fantastic. They are a top 5 defense in the NFL, and I wholeheartedly believe that. But that Miami Dolphins offense is another thing altogether right now. And I know they just lost their talented rookie Devon Achane for a little bit, and he's not going to be available for that game. But they're still the most explosive offense in the NFL. It's not really that close. So you want to see them get some things figured out. And I'm willing to bet that they were kind of looking past this game against the Denver Broncos and preparing for what is going to be a much tighter football game against the Los Angeles Chargers next week.
Yeah, and you hit on some really good points there. But like Pacheco had another really nice game. But even to that point, like Pacheco, you got to stop going east to west so much. He left a lot of yards on the field tonight, I thought, just because he tries to stretch it out to the boundary, just runs so lateral for so far and never gets to the corner, and it just lets himself get stretched out and then washed out of bounds. And it's like, man, if you would just turn it upfield and just take the 3-yard gain there, you'd probably finish the day with an extra 25 yards, on your stat sheet. And so like he's gotta work on that vision a little bit. It might just be something he just might not have. Like that just might be who he is, at this point. Andy Reid's third and short play calling is still mind baffling, still trick plays, like still just refuses. Like you have the best, guard and center combo in the league. If you're gonna do the brotherly shove, which was a 4th down play, I know this. Like, why do it on a punt fake? Like, just line up. Even if you want Noah Gray to take the snap, because they know it's going to come regardless. Just line up, get behind your big uglies, and just do it. Like, you don't gotta try to like be cute with every single short yardage situation that you have. Like, it's frustrating to watch because we talk about they had a total vanilla game plan, except for on 3rd and short, when you should be vanilla. Like just keep it simple.
So that's frustrating. The Kadarius Toney play where he takes a direct snap and he has the option to give up the ball or keep it, and he keeps it, makes the wrong read, and it gets totally blown up in the backfield. Like those plays are frustrating, but I think those are where I kind of felt like Andy Reid wasn't really given his A game tonight. I think those plays where most people are like, "Oh, the Chiefs are just screwing around now." I think he's being dead serious about those plays because he wants those to be the effective short yardage plays. Like those aren't a joke. Andy's taking those very seriously, and they are simply not working. I wish they would just hand the ball off to Isaiah Pacheco right up the middle on 4th and 1 on those short yardage plays. It doesn't make any sense, and it continues to be frustrating. But there's going to be a key moment in a crucial game upcoming where Andy Reid absolutely does that and proves this point for us. But I still think there was positives to take away from tonight's game, and really, I think my approach to tonight's game was just like the Broncos are so unserious that I can't even be annoyed with some of this stuff from the Chiefs offense. Like I was a lot more annoyed last week against the Minnesota Vikings than I am this week by the performance from the Chiefs offense because, Kelsey just looking healthy and like early in the game, he sets up that hook and ladder play, which I don't think that was a hook and ladder play that was called. It was just Travis Kelsey being Travis Kelsey and deciding to make a lateral. And obviously he has a big game, over 100 yards. Kadarius Toney finds the end zone, which, he's still kind of on a snap count. But him being involved and him making plays for you and him looking like he is healthy and getting closer and closer to healthy to where maybe they can rely on him a little bit more in the future. I think all of those things are positives for the Chiefs offense. And then again, Rashee Rice continues to look like the Chiefs' absolute best playmaker in the wide receiver room. And it's not even close. Just every time he touches the ball, he's got a burst and a tackle breaking ability that no other wide receiver on the team has, that no other wide receiver on the team has even come close to showing, because we know MVS isn't that dude. We know Justin Watson isn't that dude. Like they're just guys who they can run straight line down the field and you can get some deep shots to them every now and then. That's all they do. They can't do anything else. Sky Moore is just a total non-factor out there, and you're not getting anything from him. Justin Ross isn't getting snaps, and he's not getting on the football field. Rashee Rice is the only guy that I'm like, that guy looks like a difference maker. They need to feed him the ball more, and I want to see him get involved more, and I'm really, really hoping that I'm right. And next week against the Los Angeles Chargers is when they finally commit to him as being like a full-time player.
I was watching for Ross on the Prime Vision tonight, and I would say he's probably out there for about 12 snaps that I noticed, which is double what he was last week. Mahomes just wasn't looking his direction at all. Like I don't think I saw Mahomes look at Ross once tonight. And there was a couple times where he was open, but that's what I'm saying. Like he just doesn't trust his outside wide receivers. He wasn't looking at MVS. He wasn't looking at Sky Moore. He wasn't looking at anybody on the outside. At this point, MVS is a net negative in the offense. I mean, he's not producing, any receiving yards, and then he's having crucial penalties, that are backing you up. So they gotta reconsider MVS's role in this offense, unfortunately. But yeah, the positives. Rashee Rice looks like the real deal. Like this was like almost his coming out party. Now, Travis Kelsey was the man of the hour. Travis Kelsey was the dude that we know he is tonight. Like this is what you expect out of Travis Kelsey.
Again,
I mean,
he was gonna ball out.
Taylor Swift is up in the suite talking football with Travis Kelsey's haggard-looking dad, and who looks like everybody's dad. Like just like rough as can be, former steelworker from Cleveland, Ohio, just up there just talking to Taylor freaking Swift.
That's such a perfect way to describe it. It's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. like the most odd couple ever. That was just like it was a perfect moment. It was like a chef's kiss of a moment, though, right? I loved it. But yeah, he's out there balling out for his girl, and I love to see it. I mean, I'm a fan of Love, Steven Serda. We've already covered all this on the podcast. I'm a Swiftie. I'm a fan of Love. I think, the more the merrier in Chiefs Kingdom. But Travis Kelsey was that dude tonight, and he came back from an injury. He showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit, everything that we need him to be. But we also need somebody else, and Rashee Rice was that somebody else on offense in the passing game tonight. I would really like to see his role expanded moving forward. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs dominated on defense a really, really bad football team, and Travis Kelce was awesome. And I think that's the storyline.
So you mentioned Mahomes and him not looking to his boundary wide receivers and not really scanning the field in the way that we're used to from him. He's still spreading the ball around, like he's still peppering a lot of guys every week. But I do think that there is something right now with him that's going on where Patrick Mahomes also and the wide receivers are catching all the blame, and I think they deserve some of it. And I think Andy Reid and the coaching staff deserve some of it, but Mahomes isn't really getting any of the blame, and Mahomes hasn't been perfect this season. Like, Mahomes hasn't been great at times this year. He's struggling right now, too, where, that interception that he threw in the end zone to Justin Simmons was a play that you just can't make that throw. Like, there was no reason for him to make that throw. And, maybe you can say, well, if the pass didn't get deflected at the line of scrimmage, maybe there's enough on that Sky Moore can adjust to the ball and try to come back and make a play. But, like, you have no faith that Sky Moore is going to make that play. So if you don't have any faith that he's going to make that play, just don't make the throw, because throwing that interception costs you an easy Harrison Butker field goal. And Mahomes has done that several times this year, where it seems like right now, with Travis Kelce being 34 years old and a little bit banged up, and him being the go-to guy for everything that's making the whole offense move at all right now, outside of Isaiah Pacheco ripping off a few runs here and there, like, it seems like Mahomes is kind of reverting to this, I got to force things, but he's also missing guys at times. Like, it's not just always that the guys aren't getting open, which that is a problem. They got a real problem with guys getting open against man coverage right now. That's been an issue. Travis Kelce will dice up zone all day, every day, but they got guys that struggle to get open in one-on-one matchups. But I think Patrick Mahomes, like you mentioned, just has such a lack of trust in some of these guys right now that we're still trying to see them develop that and figure it out as they go. But it's worth mentioning that Patrick Mahomes just also isn't playing close to the best football that we've ever seen him play.
No, he's not playing the best football we've ever seen him play. He's bailing on protection. Like, yeah, the tackles haven't been perfect. Jawan Taylor got another holding call. Donovan Smith has been mediocre, this year, I would say. But he's bailing on protection way too soon. He's not even giving, sometimes he's not even giving the wide receivers an opportunity for the play to develop or for them to beat the man coverage, because he's seeing the heat and he's bailing. And I mean, the only defense I got of him is, you saw at the end of the game, he was screaming, cover zero, like they're bringing the blitz. And what happened? Nothing. Like, nobody gave him any help. Nobody got open quick. Nobody broke off their route. Nobody picked up the blitz, and he got sacked. I mean, so Mahomes isn't playing confidently. We've seen Mahomes, when he's not feeling comfortable in his protection, he tends to drift. He tends to bail in the pocket. He tends to tuck it and run a little too soon. There was a play where he ran for the first down. And he had Jerick McKinnon direct him on the block. On that play, Justin Ross was open probably 30 yards downfield. Had like 5 steps on his guy. And Mahomes, like I said, Mahomes never even looked his direction. And so Mahomes isn't seeing the field well, because Mahomes isn't feeling secure back there, I don't think.
And I'm seeing this a lot. It's in the comments. I'm seeing it a lot on social media and from Chiefs fans all over the place. Like, is it Eric Bieniemy not being there anymore? And one, that's annoying, because how many times over the past few years did we have arguments where I was like, Eric Bieniemy deserves to be a head coach, and people are like, he doesn't even do anything. It's all Andy Reid. And now when the offense isn't working the way that you want it to, it's Eric Bieniemy's gone. That's why. No, it's the same offense. Matt Nagy isn't doing anything dramatically different from what Eric Bieniemy did. Andy Reid is the one that still is the deciding factor in all of this. They're just not in sync right now. They're playing really sloppy football, and it just doesn't look clean. And that's why it's frustrating to watch, because we saw last year how efficient they were and how they had that early season matchup against the San Francisco 49ers where they absolutely dusted the best defense in the NFL. And they haven't really had a performance that's come close to that kind of game yet this season. And that's why it's frustrating. It's not the play calling. It's not the system. It's not the things that have always worked around them. It's having these huge changes in personnel season after season. Sometimes you're going to hit some roadblocks, and sometimes those things aren't going to work as fast as you want them to. Now, I do think that them getting nothing out of Sky Moore is slowing things down a lot more than they anticipated. I think that they really thought Sky was going to take this big step forward this season and be a contributor in the offense, and it has not happened. But now they're having to pivot, and Rashee Rice looks like he can be a difference maker. So Rashee Rice needs to get on the football field more. Like, it's as simple as that. The offense isn't clean right now, and it's frustrating to watch, but they're still 5-1. They're still winning football games. And like, if they had to go up against the San Francisco 49ers tomorrow, I think they probably lose that game because San Francisco is playing like the absolute best team in the NFL. Well, we got a really long way to go. We got a lot of time left for them to figure things out and try to get things going smooth and becoming this well-oiled offensive machine again.
Well, yeah, and the thing with Sky Moore is, and this is the offense on the whole, the offense is not playing good situational football. Like the Mahomes interception, terrible situational football. On that first 3rd and 2 in the red zone, Sky Moore starts out on the flat, and Mahomes wants to go to him, but he's covered. And then he works to the end zone. But you don't need to be in the end zone there, Sky Moore. Once you're in the end zone, Mahomes is looking for you to work back towards him, and he just lets himself get washed out the sideline laterally, and he's not working back to the quarterback at all. And we saw Mahomes get on him for that. Was it last week? And he's just like that situational piece of it for Sky Moore is not there. Like he doesn't like if he doesn't get a good release and doesn't get open immediately, then he's out of the play.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, and that's veteran stuff. Like that's see they had that last season in Juju. They had that with Tyreek Hill. And Juju Smith-Schuster is a player that's been around the NFL long enough and played with Ben Roethlisberger, who was pretty notorious for plays like that before he became washed up Ben. Like I can think of years and years where him and Antonio Brown play breaks down, Ben Roethlisberger gets outside the pocket, Antonio Brown to just run into the open part of the field, and he finds him deep down the field. We saw Juju Smith-Schuster do some of that stuff last season, and you're totally right. Like Sky Moore, if he's not getting open at the line of scrimmage, if he's not winning his one-on-one matchup immediately, he's gone. Like he's out of the play. He's not a factor anymore. And that's a development thing, and that's a chemistry thing that could get better as time goes. But that's a problem when Travis Kelce is the only guy right now. When we talk about Mahomes and how special he is when he gets outside the pocket, well, it's a problem when everybody else sees he breaks the pocket and they think, okay, well, my route's over, and they stop moving. Travis Kelce doesn't ever do that. They got to get that. They got to get that into everybody's head. Don't stop moving. Go find somewhere that's open and get open so Mahomes will throw it to you because he can hit you from anywhere on the field.
And that's what you heard like from every single receiver last year, right? What's the first thing that you learn when you play with Patrick Mahomes? The play is never over. The route is never over. Just keep running. Like that's what like anytime the Chiefs sign a new wide receiver, they say, what have you learned since you've been in Kansas City so far? Oh, that the play is never over with Mahomes, that you just keep running. Like just keep running. And like, I'll not to beat a dead horse, but to Justin Ross's credit, I saw him a couple of times do exactly that, but Ross just hasn't earned anybody's trust at this point, because he's bottom of the roster trying to work his way up. And I'm not saying that Justin Ross is the answer. I'm not saying Justin Ross is going to be a superstar. I'm saying that even though I don't think he had a single reception today, I saw some stuff out of him when the ball wasn't coming his way that I liked, right? And so I would say that it's like a small, minuscule positive that he actually did get open. He did actually, try to, run after the play and extend the play. But Mahomes wasn't having anything of his wide receivers in the second half, and rightfully so.
And from the comments section, Chargers defense isn't good. Neither is the Broncos defense. In fact, the Broncos defense is the worst one in the NFL. And the Chiefs just put up 19 points. Now, I'm not taking that much away from this game. I think that the Chiefs knew they were just such a huge overmatch for them that they didn't take this game seriously. And how many times have we seen the Chiefs do this over the years? Like, there's nothing to be taken away from this game that is going to matter in a month. I truly believe that.
And the thing that's frustrating the most about this, Steven Serda, is that the Chiefs, this was a 16th victory in a row over the Denver Broncos. Like this was the Sweet 16, baby. Like we should be celebrating our dominance over a division rival who I have zero love for. whatsoever. And I love that they're the worst team in football. I love that their head coach is a complete and total jackass who puts his foot in his mouth on a weekly basis. And I love that their quarterback is completely washed. Like this is like the best. Like I almost love watching the Broncos be bad as much as I like watching the Chiefs be good. Like I have no love for the Broncos whatsoever in my heart. I was raised a Raider hater, and I was raised to, you know, dislike and hate John Elway. So seeing the Broncos this bad is one of the greatest things in the world to me, which is also why it's frustrating that we didn't go out there and stomp on them.
Okay, moving over to the defensive side of the ball. Moving over to the best unit on the team right now, Steve Spagnuolo's defense, and just another incredible performance from them. All around, I think everybody played great tonight. I know they gave up the touchdown late and the 2-point conversion, but like that didn't matter at all. Russell's going to give you some garbage time stats. Like I'm not worried about any of that. Chiefs defense did absolutely everything that they needed to do. They pitched a shutout through 3/4 of this game, and they were absolutely dominant up front. George Karlaftis dealing with a hamstring injury and reportedly on a snap count coming in the game, putting pressure on Russell Wilson multiple times throughout the game. He looked great tonight. Chris Jones got another sack, and he was dominant again tonight. Justin Reed got a sack, also an interception. Like the secondary played really well. Trent McDuffie got banged up, but then Jalen Watson comes in. He played really well tonight, had a couple of batted passes, and then, he picks up a pass interference call. But overall, I think just another absolutely stellar performance from the Chiefs defense. And I continue to be convinced until they give me any reason to think otherwise. They are a legitimate top 5 unit in the NFL. And I truly believe that their secondary might be the best secondary in the entire league.
I think their secondary might be the best total secondary in the entire league. I think that Justin Reed is completely underrated. I think that he is kind of like the lifeblood that kind of keeps the entire secondary organized, and it's kind of the leader back there. And he has been playing extremely well thus far in the season. It's not necessarily showing up on the stat sheet, but he seems to be in the right place at the right time and make clutch plays. Everybody in the secondary tonight, I mean, they shut down Denver's passing attack. I mean, and like you said, the front four was awesome. They were like there's really like if you come out of this game with any criticism of the Chiefs defense whatsoever, you're just a negative Nancy who just likes to chug haterade 24/7. Because what you want to see out of your defense, if you wanted your defense to be your defense to be considered elite, you want to see them come out and shut down and dominate a bad team. And that's exactly what they did. McDuffie, I see in the comments right here, McDuffie is that dude. McDuffie is definitely that dude. Like he is the guy. And Jalen Watson coming back from a bad pass interference play to then have an excellent pass defend. Like those are the sort of things where you see that they put the bad reps behind them and they move forward with the good reps. That they were the entire front four and the linebackers in the run defense, they were moving as one unit. They were stretching the ball to the sideline, and they were gang tackling. They were crowding to the ball. They were driving uphill. They were playing aggressive. They were playing free. They mentioned on the broadcast that the secondary is playing like they're not thinking about the scheme anymore, that they just are just trusting their instincts. The whole defense is playing that way. There's not a person on this defense that shows any hesitation in what their assignment is. Like they are very well coached right now. Spagnuolo, I've had criticisms of him in the past. Dude, you finally got what you want. You got the personnel that you needed. And this defense looks dominant. I mean, even down to guys like Malik Herring got us half a sack today. Like even like Derek Nottie. Gosh darn, Derek Nottie's playing heck of a run defense, man. Like he's earning himself a pay raise next year.
And the Chiefs defense so far this season, I think it has been a conversation with San Francisco, Dallas, the Jets, the Bills. Like those are kind of the upper echelon defensive units of the NFL. And I think there's a case to be made. Buffalo's secondary really banged up right now. They just also lost Matt Milano, who is their stud linebacker. The Jets are just the Jets. They're a middling team. Their defense is good, but the offense sucks, and they're not going anywhere now with Zach Wilson as the quarterback. And Dallas, their defense really hasn't been the same since Trayvon Diggs went down. Their secondary hasn't been the same. He was playing like a top 3 corner in the NFL. Now they lose Leighton Vander Esch, who's another talented linebacker who might be done for the season. This Chiefs defense, I think, is the second best defense in the NFL behind the San Francisco 49ers right now. And they've got depth across the board. We haven't even gotten to the linebackers yet. Leo Chanel continues to just look like a baller and to look like a guy who's going to step in next season, I think, and have a full-time role possibly when Willie Gay probably heads to free agency. Nick Bolton returned after a 3-game absence, had an interception tonight, and it was an athletic interception. He looked good. Like, Drew Tranquil had another big play tonight. Like, just their depth across the board on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think we could talk about enough. And they're so impressive so far this season. Like, I truly believe it's the San Francisco 49ers. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs defense just isn't getting as much credit right now because it's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on the other side of the ball.
No, and Leo Chanel is definitely earning more reps. What sucks is that Willie Gay Jr. is playing super well. Like, he's playing great. So it sucks that if we do lose him in free agency, because it's like, man, he's a really good football player this year. But going back to Nick Bolton real quick, my Lord, did he like become more athletic when he was rehabbing back from his injury? Because I've never seen Nick Bolton jump like that, move like that, drop back into coverage like that. Like, that was that was 90% instincts. But dude, like he let's be honest, Nick Bolton's not the best jumper in the world, and dude had some ups on that play. I saw that and I had to double clutch. I was like, was that Snead? No, that was Bolton. It's like, but was that Snead? I was like, no, that was Bolton. I was like double checking the name and the jersey number, and I was like, are we sure that was Nick Bolton on that play? Like, I mean, awesome all around. I can't praise this defense enough today, man. They just played amazing.
It truly is in years past where it seems like everything the Chiefs have done over the last few years to kind of build that defensive unit up compared to when Patrick Mahomes took over in 2018 and it was the worst defense in the NFL. Like, everything they've done in the years since to kind of build on it and keep adding to it through the draft and adding veteran free agents on cost-effective contracts and building out the depth and then just nailing all those draft picks, it feels like it is kind of peaking right now this season where they still got a lot of youth. They still got a lot of optimism to be a really good unit moving forward. But it feels like this might be the most well-constructed that it's been in the Patrick Mahomes era, and it's not even close. And I think this is probably the best unit that Steve Spagnuolo has been able to coach since he's been here in Kansas City.
I know, and I think you hit on an important point there. They nailed all of the draft picks. Like, we talk about how they haven't nailed the draft picks on the offensive side of the ball with some of the skill players, like, Sky Moore, for instance. And they just don't miss on their defensive draft picks. Like, whoever is their positional scout and regional scout that are cross scouting these guys are doing an awesome job. And so they don't miss on defensive draft picks. And that's super huge because what you got is these guys that are all kind of coming up. Like, you saw that almost using a comparison, like when the Royals won the World Series, they had a huge core of young talent that they brought up through the system together, and they all peaked together at the same time. Like you said, and that's exactly what this feels like. They have this young nucleus of very talented football players on defense, and they're all just kind of maturing and graduating and developing together. And it makes something that when you watch it, like, yeah, there's individual performers out there, there's individual stars, guys who are playing lights out, but really, what really strikes you and you walk away with is that it's just a complete and total unit that works together like a singular organism, right? And everybody's in the right place. Nobody is out of position on this defense, and I think that's one of the most impressive things about it.
And I don't want to forget to mention Mike Edwards, who is playing great right now. And I know he got called for the roughing the passer call on Russell Wilson. That was a bogus penalty. That was
justice for Mike Edwards.
Yeah, it was a very, very weak penalty call on Mike Edwards. But he, over the last few weeks, getting more and more involved in the defense. And he has been making a lot of plays and standing out as well. So just another tremendous performance from the Kansas City Chiefs defense. If you're listening to us on the podcast, I want to remind you to stick around after the break. We'll have all the post-game press conferences for you. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, anybody else they throw up there, we'll have all that available for you immediately following the commercial break. But let's get to some comments, some observations before we get out of here. I think it was a much more positive rapid reaction show this week. One, because it's Thursday night and it's kind of late and I'm tired, and I just don't want to be frustrated about a game against the Denver Broncos. But these short yardage plays have to go. Stop taking the ball out of Pat's hands. That's from John on Facebook. Listen, I agree, but as I already mentioned earlier in the show, I think there was a lot of things you could take away from tonight. That was just Andy Reid just saying, let's just throw this out there and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, we won't run it again the rest of the year. Those short yardage plays, I don't think are that. I just think that's Andy now. With no QB sneaks, I don't know why they insist on dressing it up and making it more complicated when you got Isaiah Pacheco, who is just so hard to bring down and wants to run through contact every time anybody gets near him. Like, I don't understand why they won't just do that, but I think it's pretty safe to say that this is going to pop up again some point in the season, and it's going to be just as frustrating.
It is, and I mean, at this point, if he doesn't trust him on the outside, he's not gonna stretch the ball. They're gonna go with short yardage because they're gonna be conservative, and they also know that when you got Harrison Thorleg Butker as a kicker right now, like you get it within 60 yards of the goalpost, and he's gonna make a field goal. And that's one thing we got to touch on just really quick. My God, Harrison Butker is automatic right now. Like sweet heaven. He's awesome. He is just awesome
Yeah,
right
he has
now.
been he's been better than Justin Tucker this year. I think
Yeah.
he's been the best kicker in the NFL this season. He's been tremendous.
I give Uncle Dave a lot of heat, but I mean, special teams on the kicking game is an automatic right now.
From Kane on YouTube, watching all the way from Thailand. I'm from Kansas City. It's 10 a.m. here now. Let's go, Chiefs. Well, hell yeah, Kane. Thanks for watching and hanging out from Thailand. That's awesome.
Hell yeah, Kane. I love Thailand. Been there 3 times. I lived in the Philippines for 3 years, and so I totally get the time difference and staying up in the all hours of the night to try to watch your team play. And so I love the dedication, man, from one former expat to another, or a Thai national who just loves the Chiefs. Either way, Chiefs Kingdom is global, baby, and hell yeah, keep watching.
Another comment from YouTube from Digital Pixel. When you have wide receiver by committee, none of the young guys are getting enough reps to have the standouts. Rice is doing that so far, but I still believe him more, even though it's unpopular. Man, over the first few weeks, I was trying to talk myself into Sky. I just don't see it right now. It just seems pretty apparent to me that Rashee Rice, hands down, needs to get more snaps and be more involved in the offense. But I would just really rather see Justin Ross and see what they can do with him out there, because Sky Moore on the sideline just isn't going to work. He's too small. He's not strong enough to when a defender is all over you and Mahomes throws it up on the sideline, you need somebody to go up and make a play. That's just not Sky Moore's game. But Justin Ross can do that. Justin Ross has the size and strength to do that. And I would like to see the Chiefs try to do that with him, like we saw them do it last week. I just struggle to see where Sky Moore is going to have an effective role in this offense at this point, because he was supposed to be their man beater. And if he can't get open against man coverage, I just don't know even how you use him and what he's good for at this point.
Well, I think you hit on it too. When you look at Sky Moore's RAS coming in the draft, he was very fast. He had decent release package, and he has good hands, and he's fast, but he's not agile. He has no agility, which means that he's not very useful in the slot. And his vertical is in the 50th percentile. You're 5'10" with a vertical in the 50th percentile. Like, you're not going to be an effective outside wide receiver unless you're getting significant separation, right? And so, I mean, yeah, sure, wide receiver by committee, limited snaps, limited opportunities for everybody. But in those opportunities, you can see who is the dude and who is not the dude. And Rashee Rice is a dude, and Sky Moore is not. Like you can see it. And so, why do you want more of the same? Right? It would be my question. Like, if you give him more opportunities, you're just going to get more disappointment, I think. And you give Rice more opportunities, then you're going to get more positive plays.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate to give up on a second year player this early in his career, but I just feel like they got to try to find a role for him that really works. But because this isn't it right now, it's not working, and I would like to see Justin Ross get those opportunities, just because he at least brings something to the table athletically that Sky just simply doesn't have. And Rashee Rice can go be in the slot and kind of and catch those over the middle passes, because we've seen when he gets the ball in his hand, he's just got more burst and more pop than any other wide receiver that they have on the field. And that includes even MVS and Justin Watson, because they don't break tackles. So when they catch passes, they go down, or it's got to be a long touchdown pass or something like that, or a deep play or a deep pass down the field, because that's just not their game. And I think Rashee Rice and Justin Ross bring something to the table that none of those other guys do. So those are the guys that I want to see get more involved. But I said this was going to be a quick rapid reaction show, and we gave you guys 40 minutes on a 19-8 Thursday night football game. So I feel like we killed it tonight. I feel like this was us in absolute prime form on the Arrowhead Pride Rapid Reaction Show.
Listen, we take no days off. We take no reps off, Steven Serda. It doesn't matter if it's a snoozer. It doesn't matter if it's the best game ever. We're bringing the heat every single time.
Again, we'll have all the post-game press conferences for you immediately following the commercial break. If you're listening to us on the podcast page, you can follow Rocky on Twitter at Rocky Magaña. You can follow Kramer at Kramer Talks. I'm Steven Serda. That's where you can find me. Chiefs take on the Los Angeles Chargers next Sunday, 3:25 p.m. Arrowhead time. We'll have everything you need to know ahead of that matchup. Make sure you're locked into arrowheadpride.com. All the Chiefs injury updates, everything you need to know ahead of that football game. And I will be back tomorrow morning with Pete Sweeney on the latest edition of the Arrowhead Pride